My name is Mark Taylor, and welcome as we join together our Education on Fire and Learning on Fire audience together on our cosy corner carpet of a school classroom. I just wanted to bring everybody together on this episode just to celebrate the fact that Education on Fire has just got to its 100th episode. I can't believe we've managed to do 100 episodes, and it's been quite a journey and been so insightful and so engaging for me, and I've learned so much, and I hope you've enjoyed the journey with me. We've basically taken Education on Fire as my passion project, really. Just wanted to be able to share creative and inspiring things that I was seeing and experiencing in schools as part of my Samba workshops as I was travelling around the country, and to give people in schools who maybe weren't having a positive experience the chance to really hear that actually anything is possible. There are people out there doing amazing things, and just knowing that that's happening, that people are doing that on a daily basis, I hope it was just going to give you a little bit of hope, a little bit of support, a little bit of understanding that you're doing a fantastic job, that actually every time you speak to someone kindly, whenever you just want to share what it is that's about you with a child in a school, with a colleague, with someone in the staff room, when you choose to be positive rather than negative, actually this makes a massive difference to the world around us. And so, yes, the On Fire podcasts have joined together today just to share this experience. You know, the fact that we are 100 episodes down for Education on Fire, that we are over 30 episodes on both the National Association for Primary Education podcast, which is also on the network, and of course the Learning on Fire podcast. So we really have made amazing ground, so much going on, and just so many things that we're here to celebrate. It really is just a fantastic experience for me. I hope you've really enjoyed everything that's gone on as well, and I really appreciate all those people who get in contact, all those people who share their thoughts, who share their enthusiasm. It really just gives me a lift. It gives me a chance to really focus on what it is that we're doing here, because it's not just about me. I'm just really the person in the middle, just coordinating or curating exactly what's happening. It comes from the ideas of people sending me things. It comes from the positive wishes and all those kind of things. We just sort of bring everything together. And I just wanted to say thank you. I wanted to give you the opportunity to share this with me as we just sort of really almost sit down in the corner of our classroom on the carpet and just take a deep breath, almost like a Friday afternoon, end of the week, and just to sort of think, where are we? What are we doing? How has all this come about? And where do we go for the future? I've also wanted to take this opportunity really just to be a bit more open, a bit more personal in terms of my story, where I am, where we're going to be going, what it is that we're going to be doing on this Education on Fire journey, on this Learning on Fire journey, and how it fits into life generally. I mean, it really is a really key part of my life now. It takes up an awful lot of time, and that's become more and more of an issue over the last few weeks and months as I've been busy in my other professional work. Obviously, doing my professional playing is a real gift for me. It's something I love. It's something I was born to do. It's my true voice in terms of the world and how I turn up in the world and what I'm able to share. But it does come at a price sometimes, in terms of lots of late nights, in terms of getting home if I've been working away, in terms of having to schedule everything, in terms of the podcast and the entire network, and also fitting in my teaching work as well. I'm in schools teaching drums, teaching percussion, and I just decided recently that actually I'm probably burning the candle a little bit too much at both ends, and I need to think a little bit about what it is that actually I need to do and how I want to structure my life, in terms of not just what I want, but in terms of in terms of what I'm showing my children, and in our household, exactly how I'm showing up. Am I doing it from saying what it is I think is important, or am I actually doing it, showing it by example? And I was beginning to think that actually maybe I'm quite good at sharing the things which I find, quite good at sharing the things that other people are doing, but actually maybe I need to think a little bit more about how it is that I'm turning up and exactly what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. So if I had to sum it up, I think it's really this quote and this idea which is speaking to me a lot at the moment, and giving me support in terms of how I want to change my life and how I want to focus it and how I want to show up. And it is, yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself. And that quote from Rumi is just a really, really important one, I think, for me. The fact that I just suddenly had an opportunity when we started doing the podcast just to share all these things. I thought that people would be able to listen. I thought the world would change from the ground up, and make a big difference. That whole ripple effect and just a way of growing a group of people, a whole audience members that just wanted to really just support children, to support education, to share these ideas of how everything can actually be positive, how we can actually change ourselves on a daily basis, but also maybe the whole system enough to actually really support children, to take away from some of the testing, to just give us an idea of exactly the sort of education world we'd like to put ourselves in. And I still think that's true. I can say with a hand on my heart that we've affected a lot of people. We've been listened to in over 100 countries, which is just incredible. That's 100 countries around the world have decided to listen to Education on Fire or Learning on Fire or the National Association for Primary Education. That's amazing amount of influence around the world. That's incredible. And in terms of sort of download numbers, total download numbers, we're talking about filling a stadium. We're talking about tens of thousands of people actually hearing what we're talking about engaging in what we're doing. And that just really just fills me with pride. It makes me really delighted that actually people are interested in this type of thing, that they're really wanting to be part of it. But as I said just a few moments ago, it's also really important in terms of how I'm showing up and how it is I want to do. What sort of things do I want to put my energy into? And obviously this podcast network is at the heart of it. It's where we have the opportunity to share these ideas. It's the one thing I love is the creativeness of everything. I like being the heart of something which is growing, which has got a positive influence, creating a community of people that want to be on the same page and actually sharing ideas. And that's really what Education on Fire is. It really is that hub of that type of thing. And of course the membership site, Primary Music on Fire, is just me being able to share music. Like I said, I turn up in the world and it's as close as I can be to my true self when I'm talking about music, when I'm performing, all of those things. And I just want that to be the case for so many people. I want to give the gift of music to as many people as possible, get children for it to be part and parcel of their learning as they're going through primary school and beyond. But then it's how that fits in. How is it that's really going to affect me, and how am I going to be able to sustain that in the long term? So I've sort of been thinking about it, and I decided to take a real look at all the different aspects, as I said, my performing career, my teaching career, and also the podcasting. And there's going to be a few tweaks we're going to do to the podcast network, and most of the things that you won't even realise or know, but it's just behind the scenes organisation and just bringing in maybe including a larger team, just the chance just to take off some of the day-to-day things which I've been burning the midnight oil at in order to make sure these podcasts come out on a regular basis, and to get all this great content. I'm actually going to need a bit more time to focus on growing it, on creating some of these things, and some of the nuts and bolts I know there are other people that could do, and I think that's going to really help me in terms of having more energy and more scope to be able to develop exactly what it is that I want to be able to do. There are some amazingly interesting projects coming up which I can't quite divulge just now because they're still in the pipeline. There's still lots of things to be organised with it, but it's bringing together all these ideas: education, music, some of the organisations and people that you will have heard on the podcast. It's all beginning to come into line, and we've got some brilliant ideas, and I'm so excited to be able to share it with you. It's going to have a massive effect on children, hopefully certainly all over the UK, and who knows, even beyond. So as I said, that really just leaves how much of my time and effort I spend also doing my teaching practice. And I think what I decided was it's not so much just the amount, it's the type of thing that I'm doing. And I really identify with many of you who are understanding that sense of feeling trapped. And it's not so much exactly what you're doing, it's the environment that you're in. I've very clearly witnessed that idea of a positive attitude, a negative attitude, a sense where you feel trapped. You're working with people that actually aren't on the same wavelength as you, and actually those things I've decided just to let go. just so that it gives me a little bit more time. It frees up my energy so that actually it means that I can look after myself. And actually, as we go back to that quote, today I am wise, so I'm changing myself. And that's really key in terms of making sure there's time in my life, in terms of fitness, in terms of health, in terms of time with our family. That's such an important thing. Those of you that actually know me personally will know that the last 2 years, while it's been incredibly exciting in terms of the podcast and everything that's been going on, it's been quite a traumatic time for us as a family. We've had one child in hospital for over 6 months. We've had many life and death experiences, lots of touch and go moments, and it's tricky. It brings everything into focus. It really makes you appreciate everything that you have in your life. But at the same time, it is also, what are you going to do today? How are you going to show up? It's not just about surviving. It's also about how you want to grow, how you want to be, and how that is for you, not just for everybody else. There's lots of energy goes in terms of supporting other people. But it also then comes back to, what is it that you want personally? How do you want to do it? Do you want to play tennis today? Do you want to play squash today? Do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to be able to go on holiday whenever you want to do? And of course, we might all like to have as much freedom as possible, but at the same time, we have responsibilities, we have contracts, we have commitments. There are all these sorts of things as well. The greatest gift I have is I have this ultimate portfolio career, which involves the podcast and my performing and my teaching, and it's just a question of just slightly changing the energy into how that goes, the sorts of people I want to be dealing with all the time. And it's really torn me, I have to say, in lots of different ways. There are some children that I know that the 10 minutes I spend with them every week is something that they treasure. It's something which they love. I give them the opportunity to play the drums. I give them the opportunity to chat. We give the opportunity for them to show up in a world and for them to experience something which I love, which I think comes across in what they have. But the one thing I also know is the fact that I can't teach every single child in the world, or let alone in the area that I live in. It's not possible to do every single thing for every single person. And actually spending my energy in a way that affects as many people as possible, that gives me what I need in order to help and support and to show up and be of service to as many people is really key. And I understand how some of you feel in terms of being trapped within a school environment, in terms of negativity, in terms of being trapped in a system, in terms of having to teach within a certain way. And it really, I do get that, and it's really been a big pull for me in terms of how much I do, how much I don't do, which schools I've decided to stay involved in and to teach in, which schools I've decided not to, which organisations I want to work for, and which ones I've decided actually it's not supportive for me because I feel like I'm being restricted, I'm being trapped. Some of the ways that I'm having to deliver what I'm delivering isn't supportive for the schools or the children, and some of my ideas, which you all know about really clearly having listened to the podcast before, aren't necessarily welcome. I have to sort of dumb everything down that I do, and I think actually now's the time for that not to be the case. I think it was that sense that yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. I wanted to go into everything I possibly could and actually show up and be bright and expect there to be some change. But I'm only one person in what sometimes feels like a tide of of energy coming in a different direction. But today I'm wise, and so I'm changing myself. And that really is just a sense of, I know I can change myself within that situation. I'm fully aware of that. I've had to do that before many times. But actually it's more about, what exactly do I want that to look like? I don't want to have to dumb it down. I don't want to have to sort of move things around in order to fit in. I actually want to be able to be my true self, which is completely in alignment with my idea of growing, both professionally, both personally, as a husband, as a family man, as a healthy person, as someone who's enjoying and being active. And you sort of wake up sometimes and you just think, actually, how long is it that I'm going to wait for the world to change? And then I think I'll be able to do X, or then I'll be able to do Y. Actually, you need to be doing X and doing Y when you get that opportunity. Make those changes. Make it part of what you do on a daily basis. And then have that understanding of letting go. Just see where it takes you. How are you going to show up? Who's going to come into your world when you create that space in whichever way that you can do that? Who's going to come along? Who are going to be your new mentors? What opportunities are going to happen? The one thing that always strikes me whenever I get to these types of decisions or these types of ideas or pivotal points in my life is often that it usually comes completely left field. You sort of push and push and push, and you think, oh, it's going to look like this, and I'm going to create this, and I'm going to spend time and energy spending time and energy in this direction. And actually something completely different comes out and just changes your life in an instant. And that's happened to me multiple times, and it does still amaze me how it takes me a long time sometimes just to remember and to realise that I've been here before. I understand that. I know how those things are going to happen. And in terms of how that sort of fits in with the Learning on Fire podcast, what advice would you give your younger self was one of the questions that we say, and that really would be one of them. Just take a break, let it relax, just see how you're going, and then your future will look like whatever it's meant to be, because from there anything is possible and anything will happen. And one of the things I want to do is to get back to some of the really exciting things that I did not that long ago, but certainly just before some of our family life became so important, and certainly our youngest child was born 11 or 12 years ago. In terms of that kind of being able to work with my friends a lot, being in control of the community that we're working in, being able to be part of my orchestral management that I was doing back then and still do now, in terms of creating a working environment with people that just love doing what they're doing, and just surrounding yourself. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, so make sure they count. Make sure you're the one that you want to be around yourself as well as the other people too. So I just wanted to come and just sort of say hello, just show up as me, not the person that does the interview, not the person that's asking the questions and talking around other people's lives, but actually this is me today. These are the sorts of things I'm thinking about, the sorts of things I'm talking about. It's the end of the academic year, which is why one of the reasons I was able to take some of these decisions in terms of changing my teaching life slightly, because as a freelancer rolling contracts, I just don't need to renew it. It's not a big deal in terms of leaving a full-time job or anything like that, but it is a big deal in terms of knowing exactly some of the stability that you might have. But I'm really excited about the fact it's just going to give me the time and the mental capacity to spend some time on me, and I know that in turn is going to be able to rub off and just give us the opportunity within Education on Fire to really grow it, to really spend some time thriving in terms of the people that we can get on to interview, the sorts of subjects that we can cover, and more importantly, those things that we don't know, the places that we don't know it's going to go, the people, the mentors, the people I'm going to come across who are going to be able to support us to spread this education word. Because what are we doing here? We're trying to support children individually and collectively to live life on their terms. And I guess that's essentially what I'm trying to get back to myself. Live life on my terms. Don't put up with the things I don't want to put up with. Actually show up as me, but at the same time, be kind. Understand that everyone has their own life to live. They're all doing the best that they possibly can, and not to get angry within those situations, but to understand it, allow it to be, but actually spend my time truly focusing on what's important to me. And in turn, I think what's important to you, those people that are listening on a regular basis. As I said, there's this football stadium full of people who are listening in over 100 countries, and I just wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you. Here's to the next 100 plus episodes and to the journey that's going to come. Thank you all again, and let's speak again very soon.